Welcome to I Heart Geek. And welcome to another episode of I Heart Geek. Yay! There you go. I needed to hear another voice, otherwise I felt like I'm talking into the Ethernet alone again.
You are talking into the Ethernet right now through FaceTime.
Dang it. Okay, this is Dub, and I'm sitting down with one of the OGs from the show. We have Mr. John from California. How you doing, bud?
Hello, I'm doing good.
How good are you doing, John from California?
Hanging in there, quarantine's fun.
So tell us what your life has been like since, you've taken all the fame and fortune from I Heart Geek and, taken it into your new field of special effects in California.
That hasn't really happened.
You can lie here.
There really hasn't been any fame and fortune. I'm still waiting for those residual checks, Wendell.
Yeah, keep waiting on that. It's So we wanted to do a show together because we haven't done one in forever and a day, I think. But we said, okay, well, what is the least amount of effort we can put into a show? And John said, let's do a show about a show that we watch. And we went through the 10 to 15 different shows that we both like, and we decided...
I thought it was more like the 2 shows that we haven't done yet.
I don't know if I've done The Office or not. Oh, yeah, spoiler, we're doing The Office.
We're doing The Office today. Well, I think they can tell from the podcast description when they look at the title and the description of what's going to happen.
I always like to say that like it's a big suspenseful moment, and it never is, because it's
not
always on the title. Wow.
It's there in the description.
Okay, so if you don't have Steve Carell in The Office...
Carell.
What or who do you want to see in that seat?
As Michael Scott?
As Michael Scott.
Oh, holy crap.
I was going off the rails.
You need somebody
today.
cringy and awkward. Trying to think who can be really cringy and awkward. I can't really think of anybody. I mean, I think it would have been funny to have Bob Odenkirk, because I know he was originally one of the people that was supposed to be there.
I think he would have been terrible because he would have played it too mean.
You think?
I don't. I think he would have been way
think
too...
about that.
He would have been way too much like Ricky Gervais.
No, but think about how he played it when remember when Pam in season 9 was going for that job to work in that real estate agency?
Uh-huh.
That was him playing Michael Scott. I think he would have played it like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It didn't feel... I don't know. I think that if he was playing Michael Scott, he took from Steve Carell. If that makes sense.
I don't know. You notice that they kind of had to pivot a little bit with Steve Carell anyways.
Really bad.
Between season 1 and season 2. Well, it's because they told him, look, he's too mean and they need to make him likable. And so, that's why they kind of, changed it up a little bit, getting him to be... Yeah, he was still kind of cringy and awkward, but it's you just feel bad for him because, all he wants is friends and family.
Yeah. They did such a great job on that. On having him become this just awkward, just garbage human being that you rooted for after the first season.
Yeah, he had to be kind of like a bad guy, kind of, but also somebody that you loved. A nicer version of Dr. Kelso from Scrubs.
His jokes went from cruel and mean to unintentionally mean, but very awkward. And he became the butt of his own joke.
Yeah, and he was never really meaning... there's only a few occasions where he actually was trying to be a jerk, but it was more like he was hurt, and so he was lashing out, but it was never like he was intentionally trying to be mean.
Yeah. So, do you think the show should have quit when he left? I think he was the show.
No, because the show really was more Jim and Pam, if you think about it. They really made the show about them, because you had Michael Scott was a big part of it too, but really Jim and Pam was the crux of the show, and they even made it that way on purpose. They knew that... I don't know if you listen to the Office Ladies podcast.
I do. I was going to bring that one up.
But do you remember when they talked about that? How what was his Ricky Gervais and Stephen Merchant both said look, one of the things that you need to do is make the show about Jim and Pam, and they had that really from the get go that they knew it needed to be the crux needed to be around them.
Well, let's go back actually for a second on that. Did you ever watch the British version of The Office?
I watched a few episodes of the first series, but it's like I couldn't. I don't know.
You watched it after, though, right?
Yeah, I guess like that. Maybe that was my problem, but like I couldn't really get into it. I didn't really like the Ricky Gervais character. I thought he was just too much of a jerk.
Well, he was Steve Carell the first season.
Yeah,
very similar. There was no the Jim and Pam characters. I don't remember what their names were.
Well, it was like Tim and Diane or something like. Or something I forget
like
it. Yeah,
it was similar, but there was some I just didn't care for them. The Jim character, it was just kind of like, and what is it, Martin Freeman, he's brilliant in everything I've ever seen, but he was a character I did not care for whatsoever. I went through and watched them when I knew we were doing this for the British, because the British. But yeah, everybody was white trash. I mean, they're literally living in trailers. I wanted.
I believe they call them campers. They're not campers. What is it? Oh my gosh, I'm trying to like bring up my Snatch vocabulary.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Anyways.
But no matter what, it just. Yeah, I don't understand the big appeal of the British, because everyone said, "Oh, I was such a fan of the British show, and I was so glad we started making it." I'm like, I don't see the appeal. I mean, it was okay.
Yeah, I mean, it had its like funny parts, but I mean, honestly, it was kind of like watching. What was it like? How I feel about Arrested Development. It's just like I chuckled at parts, but I didn't really
Arrested
like
Development. But
yeah, I didn't. It didn't make me laugh. Like I haven't watched like the stuff that like ran on Netflix. I watched the original run and I was just like, it's okay. There's parts where I laughed a little bit, but it never made me like laugh out loud like The Office did. The Office, there was like, what was it, season 2? Like me and Jill had just gotten married and we were living in this apartment and we were watching the conflict resolution episode. And
such a good episode.
Oh, it's like my favorite episode. Pull. Like, but like I had to put a pillow over my face because it's like midnight. We're watching it. And I'm laughing my head off because it was so freaking funny. Like the whole part where Jim goes, they're talking about like the different things that Jim had done to Dwight, and Dwight, the complaint was, "I hit myself in the head today." And then like Jim explains how he put nickels in a phone until like he got used to the weight, and then like he took them all out one day.
Oh, those pranks that he had with Dwight were so good. Now, Dwight was just such a weird character because you hated him with everything in you for the first, probably 3 seasons?
Longer.
Maybe 4? But what was the turning point for you that you're like, oh, you know what, he's kind of a decent guy?
I think the first time you kind of started to see his heart was when he got the concussion.
Oh, yeah.
In season 2. Yeah. But I mean, like, after that, though, you really didn't see it because he was just a jerk to everybody.
Well, after he lost acting manager, after he lost that and he was humbled, I liked him a lot more.
I think I started to feel bad for him when him and Angela broke up a little. That after the cat thing, but
yeah, that was funny. I'm sorry.
I mean, honestly, like this might get you some, this might get you some hate mail, but I'm kind of like I'm on the same page as Dwight when it comes to like that kind of stuff. It's like she was like talking about how like you have to like the laundry list of things to take care of that cat. It's like, well, at a certain point, it's like
it's time to go.
Yeah,
because that cat was suffering. He would actually, as much as I hate to say it, that was the kindest thing you could have done at that moment.
Not putting it in the freezer, but
well, there were scratch marks everywhere.
Not okay. At least put it in something that it's not going to get out,
Well, it couldn't get out. What do you want?
Well, no, I mean, like, out of, like, whatever it was in before. Like, you just kind of...
I'm not going to say what I'm thinking, because then some people say, oh, you're a serial killer. No, I'm not.
But you eat cereal.
I eat a lot of cereal. I like some...
Especially now.
Oh, gosh. Oh. Okay, so... Now,
if you're listening to this in the future, this is during the quarantine.
What would the guys from the people from the office, who would break first with the quarantine? Dwight would still show up to work every day, by the way.
Yeah, I think Dwight would show up to work, but I think the person who would probably break the quickest would be like Toby or Andy.
I don't know about Toby, because Toby has no friends or anything.
Well, but remember, he was always like hoping, like kind of like people would be his friend. Like he kind of got excited when people would talk to him, and that was like the only time he had like people interact with him besides his ex-wife. Saddest
Toby moment was when he spends all night when everyone's out drinking, because I think Pam said something about, I've always liked that stuffed animal, and then he spends all night in the claw machine, and then she takes, it's like, oh, okay.
I think the saddest Toby moment was when he was trying to get with Donna Noble from
yeah, that was, I hated her as a character, though.
Really?
I wish she would have never been on the show. And I love Donna. Yeah, I mean,
I liked when they like humanized her after she took over Andy's job.
Yeah, well,
like once it got to that point. Well, no, she was a jerk. She sucked when you first met her.
The problem with the show is whenever they introduce somebody, it's a caricature of what they're going to become. And it's
you kind of have to do that because you still don't know like how it's going to play like until you actually recorded a few episodes. But
I don't think they did that in the beginning. Like your first introduction to Daryl, he's in the background and you see him for a second and you just kind of slowly get into the character instead of just like, BAM! You know what I mean?
Well, but I mean, Daryl's character, though, like, you can't really, like, he can't be over the top. He's the warehouse foreman. I don't know if you ever worked in a warehouse. I have. And it was like, like, you're not going to have somebody who's, like, that ridiculous and over the top. I worked with my uncle and his best friends. That was my first job, was unloading trucks. And, like, nobody was, like, Andy or Dwight. Like, it was just, some guy, those laid-back guys just unloading trucks and driving around on forklifts.
Fair enough.
It felt real.
Yeah. So let's talk our favorite Office moments. Let's go back and forth on this a little bit.
In preparation for this, I seriously, like, I just started, like, going through it. Because, I mean, like, when we finally decided on it, it was, like, 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And so I had this on kind of, like, while I was working. Yeah, because, I mean, I'm working from home. And I'm just doing, like, basic editing stuff. So it's like, I need to do something to keep me from blowing my brains out. And...
Wow! Edit!
Hey, it could, like, this, like, the Gettysburg's episode, like, I need that, like I need a hole in the head.
I just want to cry now. You are so depressing me. Okay, so... Let's start with one of your favorite moments.
Anyways, so going through, I have like you can't see it, but I have this like list that I made in Google Docs of just like some of the best things. Like, was it the carpet episode?
Oh, with the poop in the carpet.
Yes. So like when everybody like walks in, they're smelling it, and like Creed walks in and goes, "Somebody making soup."
No, I'm a big fan of the more touching moments.
I am too.
But one of my big ones is the actual Pam and Jim wedding.
Yes,
I thought that moment was absolutely one of the best moments in TV history.
Not gonna lie, I teared up.
Oh, I absolutely did. I still cry.
It's that moment, like that wedding episode, and when Michael asks Holly to marry him.
Oh.
Dude, that had
one
me.
thing over the top. There's one thing I hated about that made it so that would have been the top moment if it wasn't for the weird part when they're walking through and everyone else is asking her to marry him.
I thought that was great.
That felt overly forced.
I don't know. I thought that part I thought was really cool. Like,
I liked the rest of it.
Yeah, the touching moments had me. I mean, even Dwight's wedding. Like that, when he has Michael come in, oh my gosh.
Yeah, but there is seriously, you're touched because you followed the story. There's nothing touching about that wedding. They're standing in graves. Pick up your hay bale. You're gonna go see.
But that's the funny thing about it. Like it's totally in character. It's
hilarious, but it's not touching at all. I don't think. But it is touching because you went through the journey with them, I guess.
Yeah.
I think the goodbye from Steve Carell and Pam.
Oh, that was rough.
Because you never. I love that you don't know what was said.
Well, I don't know about you. Like I read some stuff online, and apparently, like she basically like she wasn't in character because they weren't mic'd.
Yeah,
and was just talking about how she's gonna miss him on the show, and just like how much like he really meant to her.
And because it felt so real.
Yeah. Yeah. No, like that. And even like when like Jim was saying goodbye to him, I started to kind of lose it a little bit too.
Oh yeah. Well, we'll talk about it tomorrow. Like, oh man, no, don't do it like this.
No, it
was perfect for
right.
them. It was right.
Yeah.
For them.
Yeah. Like, I mean, the as far as the touching moments, that was cool. I mean, like, there's so many like Dwight. Like my favorite Dwight moment is when Angela basically finds out that her husband's gay. And they're talking to Toby about like where the male vagina is.
No. Well, how does one man open himself
to receive the other man's? Yeah, no. Like, and I'm sitting there like immediately thinking of like Dune and Tremors. Like
no, so was I. Feed me, Seymour.
Oh my gosh! Like I immediately just had like thoughts of like Dune and Tremors. It's like, oh, the sandworms. Like.
That's awful. No, but you know, that was so real because it really humanized those characters.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, I love the continuing storyline of how Dwight's maternal family was essentially Nazis.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, the little hints, and they went on it, but they didn't. I think they could have gone so much worse. They knew where the line was.
Well, they talked about like, oh no, yeah, his paternal family was Amish, and his maternal side were Nazis. Like talking about like, was it when they tried to visit his great grandfather in Argentina, and like it was it was like protested by the Shoah Foundation or whatever, like, or he talks about how his family was like a member of the Bund, which was like the American Nazi Party.
Oh, that's terrible.
And it's like it totally fits.
No, okay, and I want to give one last touching moment, and that was even though I think that shortly before this, even though it was the last episode, the show did jump the shark, was the letter from Jim to Pam. That he
were you talking about the DVD and the card thing?
And then
you thought that was a jump the shark moment?
No, that wasn't the moment. The moment was you go back about 5 minutes and Jim says, looks directly at the camera, I know you guys aren't supposed to do it, but can you help me out on this? And then you hear the guy go,
that's not really jump the shark
moment.
And
the guy goes, you got it. And I felt like that took me so far out of it that went from being a 10 to being an 8.
But I mean, that's not a jump the shark moment. Like a jump, no. But that's different between it being a terrible moment and a jump the shark. Because a jump the shark is when it like a TV show does something over the top that it can't recover from. Like you literally have the Fonzie jump a shark.
It could not have done another episode after that.
Well, I mean, they're all wrapping it up. They knew where it was going.
I hated that so much.
Yeah,
it was so out of character for everybody.
Okay.
You don't agree? No, that's what
I don't necessarily agree.
Fair enough.
I will say, like, if we're going to talk about like more touching moments, what was it, the Benihana Christmas episode when Michael was talking to
the Chinese
to Jim. Well, when Michael was talking to Jim and he goes, rebounds can be fun, but you still end up thinking about the girl you want to be with, the one that broke your heart.
Oh.
And it was just like, obviously you can tell Jim still has feelings for Pam then, like, and not like he's not fully invested in Karen. I was just like, which, I mean, you knew it was going to happen. Like, that was a given that was going to happen. But like, it just rewatching it again, like, I mean, I haven't watched The Office as much as I've watched Scrubs or Psych. So I don't have like every moment down like I do on Scrubs and Psych.
P.S. They are in the same universe.
Huh?
They are in the same universe. There was a crossover without you ever realizing it.
How?
Okay. Remember the softball game?
Okay.
Okay, when they went to the hospital? Because that was actually the...
Oh, you're talking about how they used the set.
That was the set. So
just different lighting.
I'm counting it as the in the same universe.
How can you count it that? Because that was Scranton and what was it? They call like the hospital from Scrubs is from
wormholes. I don't care. I want it to be in the same universe, so it's in the same universe.
The freaking hospital from Scrubs never even says like an actual city. They call it like Santa Los Angeles or whatever because it's like San Diego, Los Angeles. Yeah.
Well, you don't know what town they're in, do you? So, I'm trying. I'm pushing, aren't I?
Yeah.
You're
grasping at straws.
I'm the Michael Scott of this episode.
Except you're not as lovable.
Oh,
I'm kidding.
Wow. Gee, this was a great show on iHeart Geek. I guess we'll get back to you in another 2 years, John.
It seems to be par for the course. I think the last episode I was on was the G.I. Joe episode.
Oh yeah, that was. If you can find that episode, y'all don't listen to it. That we recorded that same episode 3 times, just a little behind the scenes, with 3 different casts.
Did mine actually make it to air?
Yours was the one that made it to air.
Okay.
Your second one was the one that made it to air.
Anyways, a little inside baseball on that one.
Whew, that was a tough one. Okay, so Michael Scott leaves. Who is your favorite person that took over the branch for no matter what amount of time? And who did you think was going to stay? Watching it live.
I kind of knew Dwight wasn't going to last.
Oh, he couldn't.
They weren't going to allow that.
It was great at the end, but not.
I did like Andy. I don't like the way they did Andy. They kind of did Andy dirty.
Well, they had to.
Why did they have to?
Okay, you know how he disappeared for like 8 months or whatever?
Yeah, because of The Hangover 3.
Because The Hangover 3. And he went on to this big story, so what else could they do with him?
No, but I mean, you don't have to do him dirty like that. I don't like the way that they did him and Aaron.
They should have left him and Aaron together.
That whole ending, and then kind of how he just became a jerk, and then finally at the very end, it's like, oh well, he's not so bad after all. I don't know. I don't like the way that they did that. That kind of bummed me out. I get okay, yeah, you have to take him off for a while because he's doing Hangover 3. That's fine.
But their relationship could not have recovered from that, no matter how they wrote it out.
Well, no, it could have if they had just said that he remained in contact with Aaron the whole time. And that's the thing. It's just they didn't have to do that. Or do you remember, Clark on season 9, the guy that was the new Dwight?
Yes.
Do you know why he was gone for a while?
No.
Because he was filming Kick-Ass 2.
Oh, okay.
And so, that's why they did that. But, I mean, they didn't do him dirty. They didn't make it, they made him Jan's boy toy.
Oh, that was so wrong.
I knew it was. I thought that was awesome. I thought that was funny.
That was terrible.
He's not as good looking as Hunter, but I mean, come on,
And then there's new Jim. Tell you what, that's a character that I'm like, wow, what happened? There was so much promise for that character and nothing.
I don't think you could do a lot with that character anyways, just because you already have Jim and Pam and you'd be taking away from their whole dynamic.
Yeah.
If you were to do more with that and try to make him more like the real Jim.
They shouldn't have made him Jim. They should have made him his own character.
But I get But
they didn't. They had 2 seasons with him.
Was it 2?
I believe it's 2 seasons with him.
It wasn't a full 2 though. It was a partial 2.
It was most of a 2. Well, it was a deuce, so... oh, I'm sorry, I'm trying. Quarantine jokes.
Grasping at straws.
Oh, boy. So who do you want to... Who would you want to... Or who did you want to see? Going back and thinking about it.
I liked Robert California.
Oh, I
love
him
Spader
so much. I know.
He was
I love
so
him.
great.
I love Spader as an actor, but
I thought that was great. Just having this super awkward boss. I don't know. I wish they had done more with Kathy Bates. I think Kathy Bates should have been down there all the time.
Yeah. Or you know what? Give it to somebody completely off. Give it to Toby.
No, Daryl would have been a better manager. I would have liked Daryl to be the manager, I guess.
Well, Daryl, they needed to have him reaching for something else. Because he was that was his character. He would get somewhere and then just quit.
Man, I think we would have pushed him harder. I don't know. I think I would have enjoyed Daryl as boss. They could have done
other things, I know.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
I mean, we act like these are real people that have going normal deals. Terrible. It's well, they're written characters, so the writers could literally write them going to space. I mean, just if they wanted to, that would have been a jump the shark moment.
Oh yeah, no, or they could have really been weird. No, they did it with him before. That was my least favorite boss, by the way.
Who?
Oh,
Will Ferrell?
No, Novak.
BJ
Novak.
Oh yeah, Ryan.
He was the character I hated the most on that show when he was the boss.
Yeah,
because he was just truly evil. And then when he came back, he was a different character altogether. He was just a douche.
I didn't like it when he came back. It was just
he should have never come back.
Yeah, they should have left him alone.
Yeah. So, but going back, who do you want to see? I thought I love the Jim Carrey cameo.
The Finger Lakes guy?
The Finger Lakes. I need to get back to the Finger Lakes, man. Because, I mentioned that like 10 times. I have to go back to the Finger Lakes because my family's waiting for me over there. They don't know I'm gone yet.
Yeah, I have a hard time with Jim Carrey after that whole fiasco with when he was in Kick-Ass 2 when he was complaining about the violence. I was just kind of like, a little convenient that you're now complaining about it. It's like, dude, you saw the first movie. You knew what kind of violence is going to be in there.
I've been watching documentaries with him lately, and I really hope that guy's okay. I think that he's just a step off on everything right now.
Well, he takes himself too seriously.
Yeah. Well, yeah, once he started doing serious roles, he wasn't like Robin Williams.
Let's not talk about that.
Oh, he would have been amazing on that show, actually. Robin Williams. Can you imagine him?
I can see that.
Wow. Yeah, let's just some dream casting here.
Dream casting? Okay.
Dream casting. So, yeah, let's say Robin Williams, and I want to see him playing Robin Williams as,
Yeah. Like
Bob and Jillian.
The coked out, zany improv guy.
Yes. That would be amazing. Or give it to Todd Packard.
No.
Okay.
No.
So in the realm of impossibilities, who else could you dreamcast on this?
Give me a second to think. Who would you have?
I said Robin Williams.
Okay.
I'm thinking.
Honestly, I would love to have seen like a Dr. Cox like John C. McGinley be the boss.
I could see that. Or actually anybody, you could do a JD.
No.
I'd like to see, actually, you know what? I would have liked to have seen a female come in there. Competent female that's likable come in as the boss. Trying to think of who. Because, the Kathy Bates character was great, but she was still a ball buster. Just get somebody that's likable.
Maybe Phoebe from Friends.
There you go. That's actually a good one. Not playing Phoebe, of course. But yeah, I can see that one. That'd be good. I'm in. She wasn't doing anything by the time the show was out.
Wasn't she already doing that one show she was doing? Like, at least by that point. What, the show on HBO?
Yeah, that terrible one? Yeah.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah, I saw an episode. That was enough for me. This kind of reminds me of the first TV show that me and you did together, which was that...
Scrubs.
No, that was the second one we did.
I thought Scrubs was first, and then we did Psych.
Nope. Before that, we did that horrible Unpowered or whatever it was called.
Oh, gosh,
that show, wow. So bad. I wanted to like it so much.
Well, because they were trying to be The Office or whatever, like...
They wanted to be The Office with superheroes. They had DC's licensing, and they didn't put anybody on.
Yeah, they honestly, like, me and Jill have been going through Superstore, and I feel like that's the show that it should have been.
Yeah, pretty much. And honestly, I think Superstore is a little boring, but that could have been that could have been very interesting if they would have had the superpower.
Depends on which Superstore part you're at. Like, when they get into the political stuff, it gets boring, but when you get around that...
Well, that's everything. You know how we love political stuff.
Yeah, I just love to be punched in the face with my entertainment.
But let's get off of that because we are not that show either.
Yes. Yes.
So, did this have one of the more satisfying endings to you?
Yeah. Yeah, actually, I thought it was a nice wrap up to the show. Like, Jim finally going off to do the athlete, not athlete, because they changed the name.
Of course, yeah.
And, Dwight's still kind of Dwight, but
he grew.
Yeah. Like he finally became like an actual human being.
And it was his son, that was...
Well, I loved how, like, what was it when he told Clark to get out of Jim's seat? He's like, maybe one day you'll be bullpen material, but not right now.
Yeah, that was... that ending, and then they show the documentary and all that. Or they're doing the DVD extras or whatever.
Yeah.
And everybody turned out okay. I didn't like Creed's ending so much. And I'll tell you what, that last season with Pam, I did not like Pam at all anymore.
I didn't like
I thought they made her so just... Ugh.
Like, I get where she's at, because, I mean, if your husband decides to make this giant change, and she doesn't seem the kind of person that wants to live in a big city anyways, and just kind of wants to be a family person... The way that they did it with her, like, I think like it made sense, like, to kind of person that she was. I didn't like how far they kind of took it.
Yeah, I felt like it was. I felt like it was too much.
They needed to rein it in a little bit more.
She needed to be a little bit more understanding, but at the same time, she can be. I don't want to do this, but she could have been more understanding at the same time.
Well, she was trying to be supportive, and I think she just was like, none of them were prepared for what it really meant to do that position.
Did she cheat on Jim with the cameraman?
No.
You don't think so?
No, because like she didn't even realize that he hadn't, like, he kind of liked her until like it was too late. Like, until he's just like, oh God, like, no, she was always really good about like not crossing that line. I don't think that occurred to her to do.
I don't know. That's one of those questions for the show, really, because no one. They left it open ended enough, and I do appreciate that with the show. I don't want everything spoon fed to me. I want to be able to kind of guess on my own.
Well, I don't really see anything in there that would cause her to think that, like, to make her cheat on him, because she didn't act all weird. Like when Jim came back, she acted like everything's fine. I mean, like, they went to go have lunch with him and his wife, and was shocked that they broke up. So I don't think like if he had cheated on her or whatever, it'd been like awkward, like how Andy and Angela were with like Dwight.
Oh,
like that.
I hated that storyline, by the way. When everybody knew except for Andy.
I felt bad for Andy, but I laughed at that. Like it.
You see, I like cringy. I don't like when I feel uncomfortable watching, and that's what I felt like with that. Okay, let's talk about the Michael Scott moment of brilliance with, what was it, Threat Mid-Level Midnight. What was your thoughts on this?
I liked when it was just them doing like a table read. I didn't like the actual like thing where they filmed the movie. Yeah.
Why?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, it kind of pulled me out of this show too much.
Well, at that point, they were kind of pulling you out of the show, though, too.
Not really.
That was Michael's last season.
No, but I mean, like, it felt like they needed to fill an episode, and they could have done. I don't know. They could have done something better with that. It felt like episode filler.
I think it needed to be done before Michael left.
It felt like a clip show. Like, I hate clip shows.
Oh, I'm not a big fan of clip shows, but it didn't feel like a clip show with me. But I loved seeing in a different way all the people that we've said goodbye to.
What, like the two of them? Like Helene and Karen? And Jan was still kind of around. It was more Helene. Yeah, she popped in every now and then. It was more like they still brought her back, but they never really brought back Helene or Karen.
Okay, that's fair enough. Yeah, well, she came back. I don't know if she was this before or after when she was pregnant.
She was pregnant before that. That was before Holly.
Oh, okay.
Or, well, I mean, it was during the Holly thing, but like not when they were like together.
Okay, so favorite episodes. Go.
Oh, my favorite episode is Conflict Resolution.
Season 1?
Season 2, episode 21, I believe it is. It's 21.
Is that the moment that you fell in love with the show?
No, I fell in love with the show pretty much season 2, episode 1.
The Dundies?
Yeah. Like season 1, like you kind of have to like just push yourself through. It's like Parks and Rec. You got to push yourself through season 1 of Parks and Rec before like you finally like get past those initial 6 episodes, and then it's like, oh hey, it's like finally like a full-fledged show.
Oh, that's who I was thinking could play a very good Michael. Who could have played a good Michael Scott if they would have got him before he became Star-Lord and Parks and Rec.
Andy.
Huh?
Andy Dwyer.
Yes, he would have been a great Michael Scott.
No.
I think he could have. I think
he's
he would
too
take that
goofy.
to a
Like, I don't think you can't have him as like an authority figure. He's too goofy.
Okay, so what could you see him as a Jim? I see him as a Michael. I really do.
I see him more as an Andy, like Andy, Ed Helms' character.
Okay.
Like, he just, well, not even like that. I don't know. He's good at playing like the Andy Dwyer character, but that was like, he kind of did that himself because he got tired of, like, they kept casting him as being a jerk.
Yeah.
Like the douchey jock guy.
And then
so
he lost weight and looked better and like,
yeah. That's why he gained weight and to play those other parts because they wouldn't let him play like the goofy parts. They always want him to be like the douchey jock.
So how do you feel about all the other shows that kind of jumped in on the kind of Office bandwagon, kind of doing what they did? And they were successful. But how do you feel about that? Do you think that was kind of crappy?
Well, the only thing I can really think of is Parks and Rec. And that's it. Like, Parks and Rec, that's a good show, though. Like, the first season, they were trying too much to be The Office, and then, like, they kind of became their own show the second season. Like, it still kind of had this, like, documentary feel to it, but, like, that was...
Well, there's trial and error. Trial and error. Yeah. You can even... A show that just ended its 11-year run, Modern Family, people can say that can be traced back to The Office.
I didn't watch it, so
that's a show I really enjoyed. You'd actually probably like it.
I liked the stuff that Michael Schur, the guy who played Mose, like the stuff that he did. Like, I really like The Good Place. I haven't seen the final season yet, but I really like The Good Place.
He was in The Good Place?
He created The Good Place.
Did he?
Yes.
I did not. Wow. Now I have a whole...
He created that, and he created Parks and Rec.
By the way, I'm not a big fan of Parks and Rec at all, but I do love The Good Place.
You do like funny shows, right? Like, yeah. I thought we were... Then why don't you like...
Honestly, couldn't get through the first season and never come back.
That's the thing. Like, you've got to get past... It's like the first season of The Office. You got to get past those first... You have to watch the first 6 episodes.
Well,
simply because...
I started The Office. I started watching, I think, season 3 or season 4 because you were telling me about it.
Okay.
You're like, dude, you've got to watch this. And you sent it to me, and I had a copy of it on my iPod, and I watched them. I'm like, this is awesome. And that way, when you went back, it's like, okay, I know these characters. I love these characters. This is cool.
That's kind of what you have to do with Parks and Rec. Like, you got to push past that first season because there's a lot of setup for like the characters of the show. But then once you get past it, it's fine. Okay. It's good.
Favorite secondary character?
Favorite secondary character?
I'm like throwing this all over the place, by the way. There was no script for this show, folks.
Yeah, you can tell. I really like Stanley.
Stanley's great. I like Phyllis. I really do.
I like Angela. Like,
I hate Angela until I love Angela. Because she is so vile. She is the definition of a Karen through most of that series. And then a switch turns. It's like, oh. And what she does to Andy, you're just like, I can't forgive throwing the ice cream down. I'm like, I can't forgive you for that, you horrible, evil witch. You know?
I liked it just simply because she was like a palate cleanser for the show. Because like you need to have a Pam, or you need to have an Angela, and you need to have a Dwight to kind of like.
Well, there's an Angela in every office in the world.
Yeah,
but I just thought she was just so vile. But I'd say I hated her until one day I loved her.
Sorry, I got to change my mind on Stanley. I got to go with Daryl as my favorite secondary character. Like, okay, my favorite Daryl line is, remember when the warehouse guys all won the lotto?
Yep.
And he goes, hold on, he says, my future isn't going to be determined by 7 little white lotto balls. It's going to be determined by 2 big black balls. I control my destiny. I do.
You know who I think should get more credit for the show is Kevin.
Okay.
The Office slow guy.
Yeah.
And you hear about what happened after he left. What number is this? That's
Keleven.
That's a Keleven.
It's a Keleven. 1 Keleven gets you home by 7.
That day he was home by 4:30. But I mean, just the way he played that, and yeah. Was he as stupid as the show portrayed, or was he playing a character? Not the
Brian
actor.
Baumgartner, but
No,
Kevin.
Kevin.
Well, no, but like think about like when they brought him back in season.
Well, he's a drummer in several bands, full of he writes music. He's interesting. He's got a life.
Do you have to be a genius to play the drums? And this is coming from somebody who was a recovering drummer.
Wow! Wow!
No, like think about like season 9, like when they show him when he owns the bar, he's still just as dumb.
I thought he seemed like he's a lot more in his element though, and you have to be fairly intelligent to run a bar, and not have to have Gordon Ramsay come and fix it for you. but
I mean, okay,
the place seemed like it was pretty well put together.
I think he was still kind of just as like dumb, but I mean, like when he was kind of mothered by Oscar and Angela, so I mean, he wasn't allowed to be smart.
Okay. Well, I think a part of it was if you're allowed to be dumb, you will be dumb.
Yeah, you live up to what people expect of you.
Well, he realized that he doesn't have to do as much work if they have low expectations. Sort of like Creed.
No, Creed, you can't say like Creed was expected to be a certain way. Creed was just off in Creed land.
Oh, his first episode when he was going to get fired.
Oh, yeah.
There's so many people that never realized when on the very last episode when Dwight's saying, "Oh, I hired back what's his name? Devin." You don't really realize that, but that was the first guy they fired on the show.
Yeah.
I mean, you're like, "Oh my god!" And I didn't realize it until
you didn't?
Way later. No,
like when he said, "Yeah, I hired Devin back," I was like, "Oh, that's cool. They brought him back." Like,
I thought it was something that I just kind of missed. I'm like, okay.
No, I caught it.
Yeah, but I thought that was a really well done thing, I don't know. So, one of the big ups compared from the American to the British is the theme music. The theme music is terrible on the British, but I think what they did is so simple and so brilliant on the music for the American series. Do you have any take on it? Just the very simple do-do-do, do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do-do. And it was just like, 13 seconds, and it's so recognizable.
It was longer than that, but yeah, I get what you're saying. Like it's kind of, you recognize it just like you do with like the Scrubs theme song.
Yeah,
like But
Scrubs has words and that kind of stuff. I mean, it is just it's a raw emotion of monotony and like hope at the same time.
Well, no, it gives you that East Coast feel because it almost feels like, I mean, it's like a less hardcore version of like Dropkick Murphys, like having that kind of like Irish feel to it.
I don't see that.
No, it's got that like Irish feel to it. Like it's not a punk band mixed with like Irish music. Like it just kind of, I don't know, it has that East Coast feel to it, and having it mixed in with like all the stock footage of Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Yeah,
like that to me, like it's if it was just just the music, it wouldn't make any sense. But like you have all that stuff like kind of interlaced into the theme song, and so it kind of fit.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like I know again you haven't really watched Parks and Rec, but Parks and Rec kind of had the same theme song to it too. Like it was all instrumental, and it was the visuals that really made it like that. Because I mean, you could put like any music to it, it really wouldn't have mattered. It was more the visual part of the intro, anyways. And I think they kind of realized that they just needed something that would kind of fit. Like it was coming from Pennsylvania, but it was also like more the visual side of it that made it.
Who is the biggest star from The Office now?
Oh, Steve Carell.
I don't know. Daryl's got a pretty. He's everywhere.
Daryl is always playing.
When was the last time you saw Steve Carell in anything?
The last time I saw Steve Carell in something,
he did a couple movies, yeah, but you don't see him anymore. John Krasinski is everywhere now.
What, with the one TV show?
He's had a couple TV shows. He's had a couple movies.
He's
got to be freaking Mr. Fantastic. So hey.
We'll see about that. It would be great if he was, but I think I think Steve Carell was probably the biggest person to come out of that show.
I don't know.
They've even credited Steve Carell with saving the show. Like if it wasn't for him doing 40-Year-Old Virgin, like that was
no, and I don't disagree with that. But what I'm saying is, speaking now.
Oh, speaking now?
Yeah.
I still don't really, like, honestly, like, okay, you've got the only person who's really, like, more active right now would be John Krasinski, and that's just because of the Jack Ryan show. But, I mean, like, Ed Helms did some bigger movies than John Krasinski did. He was in the Hangover movies.
Yeah.
Like, and I didn't really like those movies, but like he still was.
Yeah, I saw that one.
It's
movie
still like a
3
bigger
times.
movie. But I mean, like that's honestly like that. Steve Carell was the biggest person. Is still kind of like the bigger person to come out of that show.
Fair enough. Controversial statement: 40-Year-Old Virgin was a crap movie.
I didn't really enjoy it too much, but
there's one part of it that I liked, and I can't repeat it on air because we're family friendly. But we'll repeat this afterwards. But I think you know which one I'm talking about.
No, honestly, I saw it one time, and I was just like, eh.
Okay, we'll have this discussion in about 5 minutes when we end this show. But we can't say it on air because
I think that you can't get, none of them can get past the fact that they were The Office. That like The Office is really what made all those people's careers big.
Yeah.
If you didn't have The Office, you wouldn't have John Krasinski where he was. You wouldn't have Steve Carell. Well, actually, sorry, 40-Year-Old Virgin made Steve Carell bigger. But I mean, like Jenna Fisher, like what has she really done since The Office? It's only been like a few things.
She had a 2-season run on a terrible TV show, splitting up together. That was terrible.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. Like, it's just like a lot of these people, they're not really doing much. I mean, like, was it Dwight? What's his face?
He did some stuff.
He did. Well, he had that one show, Backstrom. I actually like that show.
Yeah,
but he hasn't done.
It was trying too hard to be House.
I wouldn't say it was like straight up House, but it was.
It had elements.
It was. I would say it was more like a serious version of Psych. Because he was just like a really good detective.
Yeah.
And just wasn't as goofy.
But he was an exceptionally good detective.
Yeah.
And he drank a lot, so it's kind of the House thing.
Well, House is pills, not alcohol.
Ah, okay. Beat me over the head. Thank you.
Well, with a cane.
Okay. Last question of the day. You watch the whole series of The Office. What do you feel?
What do you mean?
What emotion do you get from watching The Office?
I
mean, there's a lot to this.
Well, that's kind of like saying, like, what emotion do you get from, like, being with, like, your wife and kids? Like,
You put that with your wife and kids? Wow. I'm telling your wife and kids that you compare them to The Office.
Let me finish.
Okay.
But I mean, it's like the range of emotions you get. You can't just say like, oh, what's it like having like being with like your wife and kids?
Okay,
like, there's so many things to it.
I guess the better way of saying is, not what does it make you feel? How does it make you feel? I think that's an important question because this is definitely an emotion-based TV show.
Yeah, but I mean, like they did a good job of just like walking the line of funny, serious, like having like good story. Like it really is like one of the like really well-made TV shows out there. Like I would put it on par with some of like the big shows like All in the Family or like some of the shows that are like just massively huge, like MASH.
Yeah.
You know, like you have it's a well-written, well-made show. It wasn't just one thing. You know, like I mean, like we're talking about just like all the different like emotions they felt with it, like the wedding episode, like where Jim goes, I bought those tickets as a backup plan. The boat was actually plan C, the church was plan B, and plan A was marrying her a long time ago, pretty much the day I met her.
Yeah.
You know, just stuff like that. Like you've got that, and then you've got conflict resolution. Like I mean, you've got so many different emotions all over the place. Like, because I mean, like I don't even think Scrubs did it like that, got really that serious as they got. You know, with different things or having like the same like feelings that you got from watching The Office. Like the episode that really made me cry on Scrubs was the last episode, but that was it. Like there was multiple.
Of the 9th season?
Huh?
Of that last season?
I don't consider the 9th season a part of Scrubs. You know
I'm sorry.
this.
I know. I'm just being cruel. Well, I can actually put into words my emotional reaction to The Office.
Okay.
And because I asked the question, I had a little more time to think about it, I guess. But it is a complete faith and hope inside of monotony.
I like that. That is a very apt way of putting it.
Yeah, honestly, they did such a great job of just this monotonous crap that we all have to deal with in life anyway, and it became just something special. And it became, you know, I mean, I think they kind of say that at the end, you know, this is... I did a job, and it became my life. And it's like,
or when she like Pam's like, how did you pick some ordinary thing and make it special?
Yeah.
But that was, I think, the beauty about it is like, yes, it was kind of over the top, and there was a lot of situations that probably wouldn't happen in real life, but they did it in such a way that you could see that really happening
somewhere. Yeah.
Yeah, it really felt like, anybody who's worked in like an office, like for any little bit of time, like you find elements that I work with a guy that I feel like, honestly, like when they talk about how Oscar's the well actually guy, he's the well actually guy. Like I was watching that episode like one time in the background, and I was just like, oh my gosh, it's him. I'm not going to say his name, but you know him. And it just like, I totally was like, I did that in this one person who I'm her supervisor. I text her real quick and I'm like, he's Oscar. He's well actually.
You're going to tell me this name off air because I want to know. I won't know who it is, but
still. You know who it is.
Wow. You're totally right. And this is an inside joke that no one will get, and that is a great place to end an episode. Okay, guys, check out all our stuff. John, is there any place that people might want to get a hold of you or whatever?
Seeing as like I haven't been alone. No. Seeing as I haven't been on Twitter for like 20 years, I guess like Facebook's pretty much the only way to get to find me. I'm on the iHeart Geek page every now and then. I'm not as active as I used to, but
when your wife is more active than you, I'm just saying.
Or our friend Crystal. Our friend Crystal Midget, by the way.
She is on almost every episode.
Yes.
And we do appreciate her. Let her know that.
Well, I think she'll listen to this and she'll feel appreciated because I'll tell her to listen too.
Oh, we do appreciate it. So yeah, take a listen to the ending credits. That tells you where to get a hold of us. We love y'all. This is getting recorded a little early. I hope the quarantine's over by the time this gets released. Probably won't, but love y'all. Hang in there. We're gonna get through this. And until next time, I'm Dub.
I'm John from California. Keep on geeking on.
You have been listening to the latest episode of the iHeart Geek Show. Make sure you visit our website at www.iheartgeekshow.com. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. And if you check us out on YouTube, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And keep on geeking on to all of you geek rock stars.